the Emir of Birnin Gwari, ably represented here, distinguished Director General of NTA, FRCN of Voice of Nigeria, who are the principal organizers of this engagement, it's also a pleasure to meet the first initiator of this laudable program that has had an unbroken history of 19 years. Very, very laudable. Other title holders here present, senior government officials, erudite scholars, and leading the pack here is the distinguished presenter and erudite scholar, Professor, Sheikh, mobilizer, missioner, motivator, Professor Onike, distinguished members of the press, brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. My role here is very simple. I'm not supposed to make any lengthy speech because somebody ably qualified, preeminently qualified has been choosing to do that. My role is to stop him to talking if he's talking too much, or to prod him to say more if he's saying little, and also to determine who are those who are going to ask questions. And in this role, I will make sure that the introvert speaks a lot, and those who are talkative do not talk. Today's topic is about faith, politics, and power, the involvement of ulama in politics and its implications. I'm not going to delve into any semantic analysis. That is the job of the orator, the sheikh who is going to take the stage very soon. However, faith, politics, power, and ulama are not operating in a vacuum. And I do believe those who crafted this topic today have one country in mind, and that is our beloved nation. To operationalize these concepts, we need a geographical location to give it a contextual meaning. The words faith, politics, and power, and the ulama, and the choice of this democratic group, the ulama, has a principal reason. Therefore, the speaker will do a surgical exposition on their involvement and its implications or complications. Involvement or lack of it, either way you look at it, has implications and complications for any space in terms of geography and location. Why the choice of ulama? Are they supposed to be in the political space? Are they supposed to be passive onlookers? Are they supposed to be active participants in the search for power and influence? I believe our erudite scholar will do justice to that. But if you are looking at the Nigerian political space today, to contextualize what we are going to look today, we have to localize and periodize it. Because Nigeria is not just given. It has a process of historical evolution getting to where we are today. To periodize it, we look at the pre-colonial days, and there were definite forms of political structure before the colonialists came. Who were the principal actors? Were they the ulama? or they are a set of different democratic groups. And the principal actor here, we are talking about the people who traversed this plain called northern Nigeria, led by no other than Sheikh Usman bin Fodio. It was faith-based, an Islamic teacher, a scholar, a poet, a revolutionary, a philosopher. And after him, he left an outstanding progeny, Muhammad Bello, Nana Fatima, and a number of them. In terms of scholarship, he wrote a book called The Principles of Justice. You can't talk of justice in a vacuum. And that means that there was a political structure to demand the addition of justice. Looking at the political evolution, when the colonialists came, they discovered there was a system of administration called the caliphate in the north. The scholars were at the helm of affairs. They commanded both the political, the administrative, the military, and the judicial system. Why were they involved at that level? It was for the sheer seeking of justice, the issues of value, fairness, and integrity. They fashioned out values of leadership and values of followership. Therefore, the system had bequeathed to us, after the colonialists, what we all know as the Sarauta system, which is still with us today. But since that time, the Sarauta system was basically faith-based, and the intellectuals, the sheikhs, the ulama, were in the driving seat. There was a social order that yielded a lot of internal trade, economic boom, and political development. Enter the colonial era. It was simple. To conquer the people and the land, you just needed to conquer the leadership. And that's what precisely happened. Without that political administrative mechanism, it would have been a different story altogether. But that framework gave us what today we refer to as indirect rule. From independence to date, military rule, republican constitutions, First Republic, Second Republic, to where we are today. Where have been the ulama? And today, if you want to define the ulama, where we are now, with an average social media, anybody who has a cell phone can issue a fatwa. And his audience do not have to come near him. The erudite scholar will tell us the definition of ulama in the present day context of social media. Faith, politics, and power. The involvement or lack of involvement. We need to know what will be the implications and complications of their involvement or lack of involvement. It is important to understand that today politics is too serious to be left to politicians. And if the ulama are involved, have the politicians failed? If the ulamas are going to be involved, what new thing are they bringing to the table? Are we going to revive the pre-independence values of governance, equity, sense of justice and fairness? Because then we had the ulama at the helm of affairs. the present-day ulama, if they are involved, will they change the narrative? By looking at that demography, every group today has the constitutional provision and protection not to remain silent. If you do remain silent, don't partake actively, chances are people other than you will take over and rule over you. So what are the implications of being involved and not being involved? Your Excellencies, Your Royal Highness, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my role here is to water the ground for our distinguished scholar to come and do a surgical operation on this topic. And it couldn't have come at a better time than this holy month of Ramadan, where if you are very close to the Quran, there are hundreds and hundreds of commands from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ya ayyuhan nas, reflect. This is a month of reflection on the journey so far, where we are today and where are we going to. It's an ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This topic couldn't have come at a better time, and we couldn't have found a better person to do justice to this topic than the chosen speaker, who 25 years ago has been involved in an extensive mobilization, a missioner, a philosopher, an erudite scholar, a professor of knowledge. He has seen it all. And in those 25 years, I am sure he will tell you his brushes with the authority for bringing the ulama to the fore of the political scheme of things in this country. I am not the speaker. But again, we needed to lay this foundation to provoke thoughts even before the scholar come to engage in an intellectual combativeness that he has been used to in the last 25 years. Once again, I want to say that I am now in charge of this engagement. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, the Honorable Minister and the Chairman of the occasion. Honorable Idi Mukhtar Maya. Atakbir. Before I invite the Director General of Voice of Nigeria, let me quickly acknowledge the presence of His Excellency, the former Governor of Kaduna State, His Excellency Mukhtar Ramadan, the Dalatun Zozo. Your Excellency, you're most welcome. Also, we welcome Marafan Hausawan Africa, Ambassador Alhaji Hamza Shaibu. Also, we welcome Sheikh Halur Maraya, the renowned Islamic scholar. He is in our midst. We say welcome to each and every one of you. It is now time for goodwill message, and to do just that, it is my singular honor and privilege to invite the Director General of the Voice of Nigeria, Malam Jibrin Baba Indachi, to please deliver the message.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. The chairman of the occasion, Honorable Minister of Livestock Development, the special guest of honor, Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, my boss and mentor, His Royal Highness FRCN Zazzau, and other highly placed personalities, brothers and sisters, colleagues, Assalamu alaikum. Events like this offer us opportunity to reflect. So I'd like to say on behalf of the management and staff of Voice of Nigeria, NTA and FRCN, we'd like to first commend our big auntie who started this journey. And for us, as younger generation, what are the lessons that you should learn from here? It means that when you are in public office, you shouldn't just look at the moment. You look at what legacies will you leave that you provide platform like this. What is happening here today is an opportunity for us to talk about Islam, but more importantly, about our faith, about politics and power. But it's even much more critical now, because like the chairman said, we're in the age of social media, the age of noise, the age of misinformation, the age of disinformation, and outright lies. And therefore, the ulamas have a role, not just to talk to the older generation, but to also encourage the younger generation to understand that you can keep your faith and be in politics and also hold power. You can be in power and also hold on to your faith. And the chairman said one thing that I think all of us, particularly those of us who consume what is on the social media, it's not everything that is on social media that is true. It's not every religious quote that you find on the social media that may necessarily be true. And therefore, the ulamas in the 21st century have a role, critical role, to provide that leverage for all of us to understand that to hold on to your faith, you don't just feed on the social media, but you also listen to the ulamas that you can connect with. At the Voice of Nigeria, we remain very focused and determined to provide our platform to deepen discussion on religion, on politics and faith and power, but above all, to also provide our platform to continue to push positive narrative about Nigeria and Nigerians, Africa and Africa to the world always. I'd like to, again, on behalf of the management and staff of Voice of Nigeria, thank all the organizers and those who have provided this opportunity in the last 19 years. And we pray that it will outlive those of us who are in office today who are also giving our own support to it. Thank you very much.
Takbir. You see, I've just been informed one vital information, which is very inspiring. Our chief lecturer or guest lecturer, little did some of us know that he was a trained engineer. As an engineer, he ventured into activities of Islam and became a scholar. This is really inspiring. So today, we have Sheikh Maruf Oniki Abdulaziz, the Chief Missioner Nasfat, as our guest lecturer. I don't know but I was told engineering, electrical engineering, and how they connived, how they converged. This is really amazing. Do I say Sheikh Engineer Maruf?
صلوا على نبي الكريم. صلوا على النبي المصطفى. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الأول بلا ابتداء والآخر بلا انتهاء والذي لا يفنى ولا ينفد ولا يكون إلا ما يريد فهلوا لما يريد يحيي ويميت مالك الملك ذو الجلال والإكرام والذي بنعمته تتم الصالحات وبعفوه تكبر الذنوب والسيئات وبكرامه تكبر القربان والعطايا وبلطفه تستر العيوب والصلاة والذي يديك وابك أمات وحيا عدا وارشدا منا واتو نعمد ونستعين ونستكبر ونستهدي ونتوكل عليه من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له إقرارا بربوبيته وإرغاما لمن جحد به وكفر وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا دائما أبدا إلى يوم الدين. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل نعم المولى ونعم النصير. I thank you, Almighty Allah. I praise you, Almighty Allah. I appreciate you, Almighty Allah. I salute you, Almighty Allah. I glorify the name of the Almighty Allah, the first without any beginning, the last without any point of termination. The Almighty Allah does whatever He wishes, but He will never make any mistake. He is the Lord of all lords. He is the King of all kings. He is the Master of all masters. He is the Judge of all judges. He is the leader of all leaders. Yesterday, He controlled the heaven and earth. Today, He is the one controlling the heaven and earth. Tomorrow, the control of heaven and earth will remain in His hands. After the Almighty Allah, it remains the Almighty Allah. We thank Him for perfecting His civil on us, for making us to be human. We thank Him for overlooking our shortcomings. We thank Him for accepting our offerings. We thank Him for covering our mistakes, our weaknesses. We seek His guidance. We seek His favor. We seek His help. Wherever He has guided aright, nobody can lead Him astray. Wherever Allah has been made to go astray, nobody can guide Him aright. I seek the blessings of Allah on our noble Prophet Muhammad. May Allah continue to bless him, bless all his companions, and the entire members of his household. After thanking Allah, after seeking Allah's blessing on Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I want to thank the management, the staff, the DGs, the DG of NTA, the DG of FRCN, the DG of PON, for inviting me to this program. May Allah reward you abundantly. We are not taking it for granted, because any scholar or any student of knowledge who is given an opportunity to come and hear his view, they are doing him a favor. They are doing him a favor. Some time ago, one of our noble scholars in Kaduna here was killed. Another person was appointed in his place. Unfortunately for the man who was appointed to replace him, government announced the ban on Okada. in the metropolis at that time. And as you are aware, it's only the less privileged among us that attend lecture most of the time. Those who have made it, we don't have time for Allah's lecture, Allah's word. They will tell you, I'm busy. Please, I have business meeting to attend to. On the day that the man was about to start his tafsir, I was told that to go to the venue, and he couldn't see a crowd. He met very few people, and he was surprised. He said the government had banned the riding of Okada in the metropolis. And he looked at himself, he said, now I know my worth in the sight of Allah. Now I know my rank in the sight of Allah. I have the message of Allah to deliver. There's nobody to listen. Inviting me here is an honor. I don't take it for granted. May Allah reward all of us for what we are going to do here today. I want to appreciate the chairman who has done 90% of my job. And I told him, you have delivered the lecture. He said, I have not delivered. I said, I have delivered the lecture. In Yoruba land, we have a proverb. My brother will translate it into Hausa language. A fowl is crying that it doesn't have teeth. Those of us who have teeth, are we eating stone? A fowl say, your hen say, I don't have teeth, and it's taking corn, it's taking millet, it's taking gero, it's taking all forms, and it's crying, I don't have teeth. Those of us who have teeth, what do we take? You don't take stone. May Allah reward them abundantly for making my job easy. The Honorable Minister for Information, who have been doing a very fantastic job for this government. Nobody will claim not to know your effort in stabilizing the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Alhaji Idris, may Allah reward you for what you are doing. This will be the second time I will meet him physically. We met in the villa some time ago, about a year or 1.5 years ago. Jazakumullah khairan for what you are doing. I thank all of you for coming. May Allah add what you are doing now to your scale of good deeds on the day of Qiyamah. May Allah not consider your being here as a waste of time. So if you are here, say we want to listen to a lecture, and Allah says it doesn't have a value. It carries no weight. There's no one else we can take the effort to. May Allah add what you are doing now to the scale of good deeds on your Qiyamah. I've not been given a duration, but I will time myself, because Yoruba land, they say, if they ask you to finish the entire food, you leave some, you don't finish it. Your host say, my guest, finish the entire food. If you are a man of virtue, you won't finish the entire food, you will leave some. I will time myself. Whatever I've been able to deliver here today, may Allah make it beneficial to all of you. My lecture, my paper. Our father, our Baba, the Emir of Zelzel, may Allah elongate your life. May Allah elongate your life. May Allah continue to be with you. May Allah continue to strengthen you. Yaki la hawla wa la quwwata. My paper is divided into 8 parts. Faith, power, and politics. The participation of ulama in politics and the implication. I divided the paper into 8 parts for better understanding and for simplicity. And for easy following, that when I get a particular part, all of you know he has mentioned it. That's the area I'm talking about. I will lay the foundation for my lecture the way you understand it. At that foundation, I won't reach conclusion. I will leave the conclusion. I will leave the summary of that foundation to the end of the lecture. And by the time I finish the lecture, I will come back to it, and you now tell me that, oh, that is the foundation that is laid. I will lay the foundation for the lecture. I will divide some terms. Because if you are to lecture, if you are to deliver a paper, what will make the audience to understand your thinking is for you to break the terms into easily understandable words. The way they will understand it, the way they will pick it, not dogon turenchi. I will define the terms. And I will now talk about Islam, Muslims, and politics. Later, I will talk about Islamic framework for obligation. Then I will talk on responsibility of every Muslim to abide and follow Quran chapter 3, verse 104. Al-Amr bil-Ma'rufi wa Nahy anil Munkar. How we are all enjoined by Allah to make sure that we command goodness and we forbid evil. And we realize that political participation is a practical way of carrying out that command of Allah. I will talk about religion and state in Islam. We're talking about religion. From Islamic perspective, what are we talking about? What are the views of the scholars on Islam, on religion and state? And I'll talk about the prospects and challenges of our scholars getting involved in politics, active politics, partisan politics. We are all political animals. But then getting involved in politics, being card-carrying members, promoting a particular party manifesto, sticking out their necks that we are in support of a particular party. What are the challenges? What are the prospects? There are 6 prospects, and there are about 8 challenges. Don't mind the number of challenges, don't mind the number of prospects. We are going to look at it together. We'll look at the prospect, we'll look at the challenges, and we'll weigh the 2 of them, and later we will arrive at a particular conclusion. We will conclude and we will recommend. Foundation. I will lay the foundation with an hadith narrated by one of the companions, An-Nu'man ibn Bashir. An-Nu'man ibn Bashir reported that the Prophet said, the example of a set of people who abide by the rules of Allah, who obey Allah, who follow the teachings of religion, in comparison to those who don't believe in Allah, who don't obey Allah, who don't follow the teachings of religion, who are just acting anyway, who are doing whatever they feel their minds have directed them to do. The comparison is like a set of people, a group of people, boarding a ship. This ship has 2 floors, 2 decks. A group are on the 4th deck, the deck that's very close to the water. Another group is on the next deck. Those who are on the 4th deck, the deck that is very close, the floor that's very close to the water, anytime they want to drink water, they have to climb up because the water is kept on the 2nd level. They have to climb up to go and collect water there. One day, one of them said, why are we troubling ourselves? Why are we climbing up each time we want to drink water? Why can't we make a hole in this ship so that we can have access to water easily, so that we don't disturb our brothers up? If they allow them to perforate the ship, you and I know what will happen to them. If they don't allow them, you and I know what will happen to those who are on the 4th floor, on the 2nd floor. If they say we don't care, go and do whatever you want. You are not interested. It's none of our business. Go and do it. Go and perforate the ship and take water directly. Your guess is as good as mine. That's the first foundation. The second foundation, There are 3 Yoruba proverbs. And I'm going to say it in English. 3 or 4 proverbs. And these proverbs, I will mention them again in passing at the conclusion of the lecture. And that will be the summary of my presentation. In Yoruba land, there's a proverb that says, we should not refuse to sleep due to the fact that some people die in their sleep. Oh, I won't sleep. Why? A lot of people have died in their sleep. I will not sleep again. Because there's a chance that I could die. Number 2, if you leave clothes for a madman, he will ruin them. You say it doesn't concern me. It's the owner of the clothes. What do I want to do with it? He will ruin the clothes. Number 3, you are absent. Yet you complain that the distribution is unjust. You are not there when they are distributing. You are not represented. And after they have shared it, you are not saying they are unjust. They have not been fair. Why are you not there? Finally, if you are not on the table, you are on the menu. If you are not on the table, you are on the menu. Islam, Muslim, and politics. Before I do that, let me define some terms. Faith. Because you need to understand the terms of the topic for you to follow me. What is faith? Complete trust and belief in something or somebody. How can I explain that one to you analogically? If you pick your child and you throw him up, your own child, and you are the father, and he recognizes you as the father, if you throw him up, how will the child react? How will he react? He will smile. He said, I have faith in you. You won't let anything happen to me. That is faith. Allow somebody else to throw him up, he will cry. But you as the father, when you throw your child up, he has that faith that nothing will happen to me. I'm in a safe hand. That is the definition of faith. As regards religion, it's a belief in the doctrine of a particular religion based on spiritual conviction and not a proof. You believe in Allah without saying Allah. You believe in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam without saying the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Muslims perform ablution. A non-Muslim will ask you, why must you perform ablution? Why can't you take your bath? Take your bath in the morning, go to work. When it is time for subi, you observe your subi. Because you want to be clean. For those who understand ablution to mean cleanness only, why don't you just take your bath, go to work? It is time for Zuhri, you observe Zuhri. Time for Asri, you observe Asri. Time for Maghrib, you observe Maghrib. Time for Isha, you observe Isha. That is logical reasoning. But we believe it spiritually. Why do we believe it spiritually? If you don't have water to do ablution, what do you use? What do you use? How can sand make you clean? It means it's a spiritual thing, not scientific thing. Okay, you have to prove to me you have to be clean. And you must have that answer. Otherwise, a native will convince you and confuse you. If you are perform ablution and you put on your socks and you want to renew your ablution, you don't have to remove your sock. Where do you wipe? Top or down? Top. Where is expected to be dirty? It's not really a matter of common sense. It's a spiritual thing. That's why the Prophet says that if you have a pool of water running in front of your house and you pass with it every day, won't you be clean? It's talking about ablution, not the physical neatness. Power. Before I forget, when I'm referring to faith in this paper, I'm talking about Islamic faith and Christianity faith. I'm talking about religion. Power. What is power? Oh, you all know that power is sweet. It is the ability or capacity to influence the behavior of others, the capacity or ability to influence it. As I'm talking to you now, I have power. I have the power of the mic. If I ask all of you to stand up, won't you stand up? Even our honorable ministers will stand up. That is the power of the mic. I was with a governor one day, and somebody came to report that armed robbers were disturbing them in their area. And the governor just looked by his side. He looked at the special advisor to the governor on security, and he said, Mr. Man, thieves, robbers should not go to that area again. I said, is that all? He said, that is all. He said, they will never get there again. That is power. That is power. And all of us, we need power. If you are not on the table, you are on the menu. Number 4, politics. These are activities associated with the governance of an area or a country. And governance in Islam is predicated on justice, accountability, and consultation. When I'm now referring to politics in this paper, in this my presentation, I'm talking about the ulama being identified with a particular party. What are the implications? I'm talking about ulama being card-carrying members of a particular party. I'm talking about the ulama getting involved in active party activities. It has prospects. It has a lot of challenges. And that's why I've said in one of the proverbs that you cannot say because people die in their sleep, you refuse to sleep. You eventually die. Who are the ulama? The ulama are a group of Muslim scholars that have been recognized as having expertise in Islamic theology. Not only I memorized the Quran, I wrote the Quran offhand. We are not an ulama, we are not an alim yet. We are a student of knowledge. When we refer to the ulama here, we are talking about those who influence the thought of people, who have followers, who will direct the behaviors of their jama'ah, who will talk to them and say, tomorrow is the election. I want you to vote for party Unike. And all of them will go there in droves. Those are the ulama I'm referring to here. Those who have followers, those who can influence, those who can convince, those who can direct people to vote by local party and they will vote for that party. It has a lot of advantages and it has a lot of disadvantages. We will weigh the two by the time I list the advantages. Islam, Muslim, and politics. I want you to know here that Islamic teachings extend beyond personal piety and personal religious obligations. What am I saying? Islam goes beyond going to the mosque. Islam goes beyond observing Hajj. Islam goes beyond fasting the month of Ramadan. Islam goes beyond doing azkar in the mosque. We need to be involved in some of the activities that affect our lives. Because we are part of the larger society. وَتَعَوَّنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى وَلَا تَعَوَّنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. Quran chapter 5, verse 2. Allah says, cooperate with one another in enjoying righteousness. Don't cooperate in committing sins. It means Muslims, I'm not talking about scholars now, only Muslims must be interested in how we are governed. You can't fold our arms and say, no, we don't get involved. Number 2, getting involved in politics as a Muslim is in line In Quran chapter 8, verse 25, where Allah says, in Quran chapter 3, verse 104, where Allah says, وَلْتَكُمْ مِنْكُمْ أُمَّةٌ يَدْعُونَ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ يَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنكَرِ وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. Let arise a group of people who will enjoy goodness and forbid evil. It means some people will have to be involved in active politics fully. While you perform your role as a voter, there's some people must be in active party politics. If you don't get involved in it, and we say it's dirty, Allah says, وَاتَقُوا فِتْنَةً لَا تُصِيبَنَّ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا مِنكُمْ خَاصَّةً وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ شَدِيدُ الْعِقَابِ. He says, fear that fitna, fear that trial. If you fold your hand, I don't want to get, politics is dirty. When the challenges, when the fitna comes, when the challenges come, it will not affect only those who are creating problems. It will affect all of you. And I'll talk about the Islamic framework of obligations. As Muslims, whatever you do falls under two categories: Fardu Ain, Fardu Kifaya. You have two obligations on your head. One of the obligations, you have to do it alone. Nobody can assist you to do it. The other obligation, once a group of people decide to do it, the responsibility is lifted upon you. Individual obligations are daily prayers, fasting, zakat, goodness to parents, no committing shirk, no committing sinner. You are going to be responsible for the day of Qiyamah. Nobody can take it away from you. If you die and say, oh, my child, after my death, please repay my salat. They can repay your hajj. You cannot repay your salat. They are individual obligation. So that obligation, e.g., availability of professionals. Every society must have engineers. Every society must have politicians. Every society must have medical doctors. Every society must have nurses. Every society must have farmers. Every society must have agriculturists. Every society must have mechanics. Every society must have tailors. And once a group of people have decided to go to that profession, you are exempted. Some people must go into politics actively. All of us cannot be in Aso Rock. All of us cannot be in the government house. All of us cannot be. Some people must do it. It is societal obligation. The difference between the two, the individual obligation, if you miss it, you can repay it if you have not died. If you miss your salat, you can repay your salat. If you miss your fasting, you can repay your fasting. You can perform Hajj several times. There's a societal obligation like saving people in the accident. You cannot postpone it. Observing Janaza is a societal obligation. If somebody dies, a group of us must take care of the dead, bathe the dead, shroud it, and bury it. And once they have done it, the obligation is lifted from others. A dying person who needs drug and food must be attended to immediately. Don't postpone it. A burning house must be attended to immediately. Don't postpone it. And all of us cannot be attended to a burning house. Once a group has done it, Allah will reward them and we won't be committing any sin. Individual obligations, it has predetermined times, it has predetermined places, and it has predetermined procedures. Everybody knows when we pray Salat. Everybody knows where we pray Salat. Everybody knows how we pray Salat. Where we pray it, how we pray it, when we pray it. They are predetermined. Social obligations, they are situationally based. The number of engineers needed in a particular society will be determined by the population of that people. The number of teachers needed will be determined by the decision of the education authority on student-teacher ratio. It's situationally based and it requires the reality on the ground. Politics, of course, It's a societal obligation. Let me go to religion and state. And this is a challenge for we Muslims. We find ourselves here in a multi-religious setup. And I have to sign this to you. Please note it. Nigeria is not a secular country. What is secularism? Godlessness. Nigeria is not a godless country. We are a multi-religious country. Government declare holiday during Eid al-Kabir. They declare holiday during Eid al-Fitr. They set up National Hajj Commission. They set up Christian Pilgrim Commission. They do a lot of things. This is a religious place. State. And one of the pages, the early page of our constitution says, we have agreed to live together under God. But non-Muslims, when they want to cheat us, by the time they are calling for our rights, they say, this is not a religious country, this is not a secular country. On Saturdays, on Sundays, people don't go to school. People don't go to work. Because government want to allow the practitioner of a particular religion to observe their services. Even though Muslims are saying, give us Friday. Allah does not say we should go on holiday on Friday. We are just saying that so that we can claim our right. Why that could is salat? He says, when you finish your salat, go back and go and do your business. But we are asking for it so that we claim our right. What is source for the goose is source for the gander. Generally speaking, in Islam, religion and state, they are twins. They cannot be separated. If you find yourself in an Islamic state, you have to thank your God. Religion and state, Imam Ghazali says, religion and state, they are interwoven. You cannot separate the two. Because Muslims have to be governed by the dictates of their religion. And that's what some of us are surprised. When Sharia was to be introduced, Sharia panel, they call it Sharia panel. In some states in the southwest, Sharia, not Sharia court. Some non-Muslim kick against it. What is their problem? Somebody says he wants to live his life according to the dictate of his religion, and you are now fighting. He says he wants to get married according to the dictate of religion. He wants to divorce his wife according to the dictate of religion. He wants to share his inheritance. You are now saying he should not do it. It's because you are not in an Islamic state. You continue to agitate until their right is given to them. In generally speaking, from Islamic perspective, states and religion, they move hand in hand. And that's why the governance is predicated on justice, accountability, and consultation. I will not be dragged into the controversy around Islam and democracy. Whether you like it or not, don't do democracy. And don't participate in politics. If you like, you are doing yourself a great disservice. Corridor always says, nothing is wrong with getting involved in democracy. Moreover, it's about consultation. Comment of the people, by the people, and for the people. What is un-Islamic about that definition? Someone has to struggle to convince me not to get involved in democracy and in politics generally. Why must our ulama get involved in politics? What are the prospects? What are the prospects? Number one, they will advance ethical governance. But they know the rules. They know what Allah wants. They know what Allah doesn't want. And they be good rulers. They be good leaders. Prophet ﷺ says, a day of just leadership is better than 60 years of worship. And a legal limit properly established in the land is more pure for it than 40 days of rain. If you are fortunate to be led by a Muslim scholar, as a governor, as a president, as a minister, ethical governance should be assured if there's nothing wrong. But he will know what Allah says, he will know what The Prophet says that if you lead 10 people, only 10 people, on the day of Qiyamah, you will be in chains until those 10 people say you are free. You have not deprived them of their right. I'm not communicating. Because they know the implication of being a bad ruler, know the implication of being a bad leader. If they are involved in politics, they will advance ethical governance. Number two, if they get involved in politics, they will represent Muslims' interests. In 2013, our brother, may Allah be pleased with him, former Governor Raji Basola, signed the cremation law in Lagos. Cremation law. That if your parent die, either of them dies, you have the right to burn your parent. Set them on fire. Government is able to set them on fire. It's a law. When the law was introduced, there were so many public hearings. Some of us went there. But eventually it was signed to law in 2013. And all of us know that if they say give your parent a befitting burial, they are not talking about burning your parent. I can't imagine one of the children of our Honorable Minister of Information, Alhaji Idris, telling him, my daddy, once you die, I will burn you. Once you die, when the Prophet says, Kasuru asimil mayit, ka kasrihi ayyam. Kasuru asimil mayit, ka kasrihi ayyam. Prophet says, breaking the bone of a dead person is like breaking his bone when it's alive. If you burn a dead person, Allah will write it for you as if you are burning him when he's alive. The people live in cremation because they lack Islamic knowledge and because they don't believe in the life after death. They believe that once you die, that is the end of it. A scholar will never believe in that way. Unfortunately for them, there's a particular man, you can Google it. His name is Jeffrey Long. Jeffrey Long. He's different from Jeffrey Lang. Jeffrey Lang is the one that wrote the book struggling to preserve my faith or something like that. But this Jeffrey Long is set up Near-Death Experience Research Foundation. Near-Death Experience Research Foundation. He has interviewed more than 4,000 people who have either gone into coma, have either fainted, in a dying situation. He has asked them, when you are in coma, when you fainted, what did you see? All of them, more than 4,000, confirmed that there's life after death. You can go and Google it, Jeffrey Long, Near-Death Experience Research Foundation. He's not a Muslim. His own research is to come and meet you. I learned that you fainted some time ago. You went to coma. When you lost consciousness, what was going on? All of them, more than 4,000 confirmed that life continues after the death too, because of the experience that we have. Somebody who signs burning of the dead after death does not believe that we are going to come back. We are going to come and Allah will come and judge us. Number 3, because I've been given time. Promotion of peace and unity. Islamic scholars will ensure that they promote peace and unity. Nigeria has NIREC, Nigeria Inter-Religious Council. Fantastic idea. Even though they are being used as firefighters, they are only known to be in existence when there's a problem. NIREC, Nigeria Inter-Religious Council. Number 4, policy advocacy. With their knowledge of Islamic law and economic principles, scholars can advocate for policies that align with ethical and sustainable development, such as zakat and some other things about Islam, because they know Islam. they know that whatever words you get, you are going to account for it. The policy they will institute will be favorable to the Muslims and to non-Muslims. I talk about Sharia law. Sharia is paramount to the life of every Muslim. Promotion and enhancement of benefits and removal of harm. How we sleep is Sharia. How we talk is Sharia. How we wear our clothes is Sharia. How we laugh is Sharia. How we die is Sharia. How we are born is Sharia. How we get married is Sharia. The way you wear your trouser, Sharia says it. Because we have somebody we are following. Monajid wrote a book. He called the book, When Prophet Muhammad Smiled, This Beloved Sallallahu Smiling. The number of times the Prophet smiled, it was recorded. How he smiled, it was recorded. How he cried, it was recorded. Because we have somebody we are following, and that means that that for us to be practicable. How you must laugh. So, companion will say when the Prophet laughed, they could see his upper molar. They could see his teeth here. They notice everything about it. Because we have people we are following, and that's where we are practicing the best religion. We are the best ever created. Ethics of Sharia in Islam and in the Muslim life can never be negotiated. I talk about the dot that was raised when Sharia panel was introduced in the South. Nasrat as a model, we call it alternative dispute resolution. We won't call it Sharia. We set up a panel. If you have a problem with your wife, problem with your business partner, come there, we'll settle the problem for you. We'll apply Sharia without calling it Sharia. We'll settle it according to the dictate of Islam. But when you call it Sharia, people are saying Sharia. Name affects what you do. Why don't you change the name and achieve what you want to achieve? There's something they call chimpa pot. What do they call it in Hausa? What the children use to poo-poo. Po. We call it po in Yoruba land. Po. It's because of the name of po that po is suffering. If you buy a new po and take it to a restaurant, they will laugh at you. But you have never used it to poo. But the name has been given to it that when you have a po, chamber pot, you have to use it to eat yourself. Even if you buy a new one inside nylon and you take it to a restaurant, I want to buy food. You say, Baba has gone mad. They empower the Huma. If they get involved in politics, they will educate us on how to vote. They will educate us on our political responsibility as Muslims. Let me rush down to the... And they will reduce, if they get involved in politics, we expect that corruption will reduce. What are the challenges? Number one, political exploitation. Politicians, they will exploit our scholars. They know that they don't have the experience. They know that they don't know how politics is played in Nigeria. If you are a scholar and you get involved in politics, they will exploit you. They will use you to achieve their aims. You will stay on the minbari and be campaigning for them. If they win, you are in trouble. If they lose, you are in trouble. If they lose, you lose followership. If they win, you lose religious authority. They don't mind him, he's a politician. Religious bias and misinterpretation. If you have a lot of scholars in politics, those who are suffering from Islamophobia, they want to take over Nigeria. You can see the governor of Kaduna now is an APA, is an alim. The governor of Sokoto is an alim. The governor of Kaduna, they want to take over Nigeria. We need to fight them. Number 4, when I talk about exploitation, former Jigawa governor, Alhaji Lamido, has expressed concern over the growing involvement of religious leaders in politics, stated that now wields significant influence over voters and political processes. And that can be demonstrated in the 2023 election, the most divisive election we have ever had in Nigeria. the scholar, the leader of a particular religion, I won't mention them, they went on the pulpit and they are campaigning against a particular set of candidates. They were campaigning against Muslim ticket, and they are calling it Momo. Muslim, Momo government. Muslim scholars should not go to that extent. Multi-religious dynamics, because it's not an Islamic state, it's not Muslim populated by Muslims. A scholar who wants to get involved in politics will face a lot of challenges. Non-Muslim will not vote for him. They will discriminate against him. Number 4, our scholars, they don't have experience at all. They don't have experience at all in politics. When a politician tells you, good morning, you have to go out and check the day. If somebody talks, and so people say, he's a politician, what does that mean? Don't mind him. But as a scholar, you are not expected to lie at all. You don't have that experience. A former governor was asking him, how do you cope with the political angons? Because he has a lot of supporters surrounding him. How do you cope with some of their statements, some of their sins, some of their thoughts, some of their discussion with you? He said, most of the time, when he's surrounded by political angons, he will switch off his brain. He'll just be looking at them and be nodding his head. He's not following, otherwise he will run mad. A scholar will want to listen to everybody. This is lack of experience. Intra-Muslim rivalries. We have Sunni, we have Shia. If you come out to be an Islamic scholar, and you want to carry a ballot box, you want to go into election, which of the sects will queue behind you? We have that discrimination among us. He's a Sunni man. He's a Shia man. And that has been inherent in us. That will reduce your chance. But unfortunately, the non-Muslim believe that we are united. Although we are united to some extent. To some extent. Alhamdulillah. I don't hear you say Alhamdulillah. When there were so many crises in Kaduna some years back, Christians were assembled, Muslims were assembled. Christians were asked to write what they like about Islam. Muslims were asked to write what they like about Christianity. You'll be surprised. The first thing that Christians wrote about Muslims is that we are united. Are you not surprised? You are not surprised. We then asked them why. They said they can't imagine any non-Muslim going to another person's worship place to go and worship. But you Muslim, if you are going somewhere and it is time for Salah, you just enter and you will pray. Without asking whether this man is Sunni, whether this man is Shia, whether this man is Ahmadiyya, you just pray. That they are imagining it. How is that possible? That's one of the beauty of Islam. I don't hear you say Alhamdulillah. Security risk. Time is up. We have listed about 10 of our leaders who have been involved in politics. About 8 scholars involved in politics. But mind you, the kind of environment in which they practice their own politics is different from our own. Conclusion and recommendation. While Islamic scholars participating in Nigerian politics has significant prospects, such as fostering ethical governance and representing Muslim interests, the challenges include secular constraints and potential exploitation, and these are to be carefully managed. A balanced approach that ensures that integrity and neutrality while leveraging their moral authority can maximize their positive impact. The major issues are how and what level of involvement. Must they involve in politics? Yes. How must they involve in politics and what level? That is the question we should ask ourselves. The scholar cannot fold their hands and sit down look, while the politicians are toying with the lives of people in terms of plain policy of bitterness, thuggery, corruption, etc., which the scripture should usually frown upon. The scholar's role should be mostly advisory, advocacy, electoral enlightenment, etc. in addition to setting up a non-partisan religious council to guide political ethics. We can play advisory role. I don't know what obtains here. In the Southwest, every governor, some of the governors have special advisor on religious affairs. We have for Islamic religion, we have for Christian religion. I don't know how strong their voice is. And they wouldn't choose anybody apart from scholars. They will choose scholars who are passionate in politics. We need to play the advisory role. Nationally, we should set up a body of Muslim scholars who understand politics, who will be playing advisory roles. Governors will be consulting them, ministers will be consulting them, and they'll be telling them, if you do this policy, it will affect the interests of Muslims, and they will kick against it. They should set up the Christian body, and they should pick them on merit. They pick them on merit that these are the advice, put the advisor on politics, political issues. Those who can advise them, or the governors, NTA, Supreme Council of Affairs, to ensure that every governor has a scholar in his cabinet, a scholar that can talk, a scholar that can walk away if he's not listening to. If you are not on the table, you are on the menu. Because you are afraid of dying in your sleep, don't be afraid to sleep. If you leave the clothes to the madman, he will run it. Whatever mistake I've made in my presentation, may Allah forgive me. Whatever I've said here today that is beneficial, may Allah share the reward among all of us. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Assalamu alaikum.
Takbir. We appreciate our scholar, Sheikh Maruf Oniki Abdulaziz, the Chief Missioner NASFAT, on the topic Faith, Politics and Power, the involvement of ulamas in politics and its implications. Before I invite the translator, let me remind us, if you have any questions that you want to, or observations or something that you want to place, papers are being circulated. Kindly jot it down and we will retrieve it so that answers will be provided. We'd like to appreciate the contributions of the Kaduna State government towards this endeavor. Also, distinguished Senator Ahmed Mohamed Mokarfi, the contributions from NTA, FRCN Bonn, and the contribution from Honorable Abdullahi Bayero and Hajia Zainab Tankukuta. We'd like to appreciate you all. And this program is being carried live on NTA, FRCN, and Voice of Nigeria. And also you can get us on the social media platforms, Facebook page on NTA Kaduna, Radio Nigeria live streaming, and www.go.ng on Radio Garden. It is now my singular honor and privilege, distinguished excellencies and other guests, to invite Professor Ismail Shehu of Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, who will now briefly, in a compressed manner, tell us about the lecture in Hausa language. Professor, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. girma shugaban wakilin gwamna Honorable Tahir Umar Tahir, mai girma shugaban zama Honorable Minister of Livestock na kiwon dabbobi, mai girma ministan yada labarai, babanmu mai martaba sarkin Zazzau Malam Ahmad Nuhu Malli, ina roƙon arzikin in gaida kowa, masu girman na da yawa, iyayen ƙasar ma haka, saboda lokaci in ci gaba da abin da aka umarce da shi. Naji mai gabatar da taro ya ce in yi a dunkule, to in Allah ya so zan yi a dunkulen, amma ina yankan hanzarin cewa takardar da aka bani kamar yadda kuka ji da yanzu digo-digo ne. Yanzu ne na saurari abin da saurara, zan cicciki abin da ya samu. Ina roƙon afuwa inda na yi gibi, musamman ma da yake fassaran domin waɗanda ba su anan ne. Karatu dai mun sha a wajen Imam Onike Maruf Abdulaziz, shugaban Nasrullahi Fathi Society a wannan zama da hukumomin NTA da FRCN da Voice of Nigeria suke gabatarwa duk shekara, taro na 19, shekaru 19 kenan. Allah ya saka ma wanda suka asasa wannan abu da alkhairi. Taken takaddan ko kuma kalan da ya gabatar cewa take faith, na fasara faith daban gaskiya, ta yi wa Islama ne da sauran addinai, alaƙa kenan da siyasa da kuma power. Na kai na komo in fasara power, amma sai na bashi kawai a iko ko mulki, ban ce shugabanci ba don ba leadership aka ce ba.
You're still watching the live event of the 19th annual FRCN NTA Ramadan lecture. The guest lecturer, Sheikh Morufu Onike Abdulaziz, who is the Chief Missioner of NASPET, spent some minutes dwelling on the topic involvement of ulama in politics. And it is now time to translate his lecture in Hausa for proper understanding of the larger audience. And this is done by Professor Ismail Shehu from Ahmadu Bello University in Zaria. Sheikh Morufu Onike Abdulaziz says that ulama must be involved in politics, emphasizing that their participation is crucial in promoting ethical governance, justice, transparency, and accountability, arguing that the Muslims entirely should not remain isolated from the political process. However, the guest lecturer says there are some issues with ulamas, particularly involving in politics. There might be political exploitation, where the ulamas may be used for personal or political gains, as well as religious biases. Professor Ismail Shehu is now translating what Professor Sheikh Engineer Morufu Onike Abdulaziz, the Chief Missioner of NASPA, has said during his lecture in Hausa. Enjoy the rest of the program.
Da cewa waɗanda suke ƙasan nan in za su sha ruwa a cikin jirgin ruwan nan a cikin teku sai sun hawo sama sannan su iya ɗiban ruwa. A wajen hawa sama ko su ɗibi ruwa suna takura wa mazauna sama. Shikenan sai wani ya ce kai ni da Allah a maimakon hidindimu din da wahalar da 'yan uwana nake a sama, mu huta mana da hawa saman nan, mu fasa rijiyarmu ta ƙasa, jirgi a teku, mu fasa rijiyar mu huda kawai ruwa ya shigo mana, mun huta da hawa sama. Ma'aiki sallallahu ce yaya kuke gani idan na sama suka ce kai ai suka kyale akai wannan rijiyar, ina makoman jirgin ruwan nan? Darasi ne jibji a cikin wannan hadisi, da ko dai ka rike hannun wanda zai banna ko kuma da kai da shi ku nutse. Ya kawo wannan a matsayin wato ɗaya daga cikin asasin da ya gina wannan littafi a takarda tasa. Sannan yana cike da karin magana masu yawa, wasu na cikin takardar, wasu kuma anan ya faɗe su. Na tuna wanda yake ƙoƙarin ya faɗi wanda ba shi a cikin takarda, ya ce kaza ce take kukan wai ita ba ta da haƙori, ya za ta yi ta ci abinci. Kaza da ke tsatsagan gero da kwari da komi da bakin nata daidaita, amma tana kukan wai ita ba ta da haƙora. Ko me yake so ya ce nasa hankalinku ya tafi wajen, ba sharhi aka ce in yi ban fassara ne. Sai kuma wanda yake cewa masu hikima na cewa kada mu ji tsoron yin bacci wai dan mun ji wani da wani sun yi bacci daga nan ba su tashi ba, ko mun ji gwalgwalewa a abin tata kenan dole sai an kutsa, sai an shiga ko da akwai hatsari, domin saƙon da yake cewa ke ɗaure ainihin takardar a kayi kenan. Sannan ya karanto ayoyi ke cewa musulunci dai ya kallafa wa dukkan mabiya su gane cewa addini ba wai hidimar sallah ce da azumi kawai ba, a akwai shiga harkan al'umma da gabatar da abubuwan da yake wajibin mutane. Shi ne ma ya shigar da abin da ya kira ko kuma abin da malamai suka aje a matsayin faralin ainihi da faralin kifaya. Faralin ainihi tamkar sallar da muke yi ɗaiɗaiku mu, na kifayar kuma ka fito in fito mu shiga cikin al'amarin da ya shafe mu duka. Ina ga aikila mun alakanta abin da maganan siyasar da maganan ainihin shiga cikin harkar mutane. Sannan ya magana akan nauyin jagoranci, inda ya ɗauko wata maganar hikima da wani mawaƙi yake faɗin cewa ƙasa za ta ɗore cikin ƙarfi da inganci in shugabanta ya tsare ta, haka kuma za ta ruguje, ko kuma in ta ruguje to shugabanta ne abin zargi. Sannan ya ce lallai ne, ya kawo shawarwari, ya ce lallai ne ya kasance akwai wasu daga cikin waɗannan ko kuma cikinmu waɗanda za su yi kira zuwa ga alheri, fasar aya ce, kuma su yi hani ga mummunan aikin kamar yadda Allah subhanahu wata'ala ya bada umarni a cikin aya ta 104 a cikin suratu Ali Imran. Sannan manzo sallallahu alaihi wasallam ya ce ya kuma ja kunnen masu ilimi kan yin shiru a lokacin da masu mulki ke zalunci, kamar yadda Abu Dawud ya ruwaito hadisin da yake fasaran cewa mafi alherin jihadi shine faɗar gaskiya wa shugaba mai tursasawa da zaluntar talakawarsa. Wannan ya kai shi ga ainihin kawo maganar alaƙar addini da siyasa a gwamnati. A cikin abin da ya faɗa na tsinkayo wanda ba shi a takardar shine maganan da ake yi da zarar musulmi sun koka za su yi batun addininsu da abin da addininsu ya tattala a basu a matsayinsu na 'yan ƙasa, sai ka ji wasu na maganan Najeriya ai sakula ce, wato almaniya, ba addiniyanci, inda ya ja hankali tare da tsawata akan cewa Najeriya ba sakula ba ce, a'a mai addinai ne kowa da irin nashi. Domin wanda ya ce maka Najeriya sakula ce to shi ma wani addini yake ma aiki, secularism shi ma addini ne. Saboda haka kakara maka a ce maka kai sakula ne, ma'ana ba ruwanka da addini, a kuma sa shi a bayan ƙasa. To har na ɗan da ta'aliki a nan, duk da zai banga ina da izinin haka ba, na taɓa tuntuɓan wasu lauyoyi kamar guda 15, do Allah a nuna min kalmar sakula a cikin tsarin mulkin Najeriya. Babu ta kalmar sakula, ba ta a tsarin mulkin Najeriya sam. Fahimtar wasu ce suka kawo ta a yadda suka dama domin ainihin wato isar da wannan addinin da secularism. To don haka mala ya ce shi yana ganin kamar yadda ya ɗauko maganan Imamul Ghazali, Allah ya mishi rahama, ya ce alaƙar addini da siyasa ko gwamnati da gudanar da harkar al'umma ke ɗan juma ne ga ɗan jummai, tagwaye ne, ba a raba su kuma su kansu ba su rabuwa, kamar yadda shi Imamul Ghazali ya faɗa. Ya ce wajibin malaman addini ne su shiga siyasa da gwamnati don su tabbatar da tsayar da adalci, su samar da zaman lafiya da haɗin kai, sannan su ba da shawara ta gari, sannan su tabbatar da wakilci ga al'ummar musulmi da ya ƙarshen hanci da rike amana, wanda yake wajibi ne da lazimin ainihin wanda suke kan mulki da iko ɗin. Ya je wurin da ya kira su ƙalubale akan wannan matsayi. Ya ce amma musulmi su lura da yanayin Najeriya mai yawan al'umma masu bambancin addini da sauran ɗaukan zafi. Akwai ɗaukan zafi da yawa a cikin Najeriya. Ya ce misali, waɗanda ba musulmi ba na bukatar ilmantarwa don rage ainihin musu kaifin adawa munana da kuma munar zato. Sannan malamai su yi hatara da kisisinar 'yan siyasa, in ji Chief Sheikh Ma'ruf. 'Yan siyasan da ya kira masu kwaɗayin amfani da su don cin zaɓe kawai, ba a tsayar da gaskiya, amana da kyautatawa ga talakawa da jagoranci na gari ba. Sai ishara kamar yadda muka ji a cikin bayanansa da wani tsokaci da tsohon gwamnan Jigawa Alhaji Salari da ya yi 'yan kwanakin baya, inda ya danganta ainihin da mamayar da malaman addini suka yi wa fagen siyasa, musamman a lokacin zaɓe wanda ta gabata a shekarar 2023. Ya koka ɓarai inda ya ce 'yan malamai sun kwashe kafan 'yan siyasa. Amma Chief Ma'ruf bai tsaya a nan ba, ya ce to su kuma 'yan siyasan suna kwashe kafan malamai, inda ya ce su yi hatara da kutsawa siyasa gadan-gadan, domin ana danganta ita siyasar da ƙarya. A matsayin na ɗalibinta ne, ina ganin ba lalai ba ne, da raba kan al'umma, da rabuwar da ke hana su magana da murya ɗaya su malaman, ko kuma su rasa kima idan mutane musamman mabiyansu. Ya ce akwai misalai da yawa wanda ya tafi na magabata wanda suka yi jagoranci kuma suka yi siyasa kyakkyawa, kamar irin su halifofin shiryayyu, irin su Sayyidina Umar da Sayyidina Ali, Allah ya kara musu yarda, da wanda suka biya musu, irin su Imam Al-Mawardi da Salahuddin Al-Ayyubi da Ibn Taymiyyah da Imam Al-Ghazali kanshi da Sultan Muhammad Al-Fatih da Sheikh Usman dan Fodiyan mu. Ya yi gwagwarmaya, ya yi siyasa, kuma ya yi shugabanci, kuma gashi malam. Saboda ka ba abin kyama ba ce. Ya ce malamai su faɗakar da mabiyansu kan muhimmancin yin zaɓe komai takaicin da suke ciki na rashi ko kuma ƙarancin samun roman demokuraɗiyya ne ake cewa ko biyan bukatunsu na karan kansu da na rayuwarsu. Ina ga shi ne alaƙar dan wani ya yi bacci ya mutu daga bacci, kada ka ji tsoron ka kwanta kai bacci. Ƙila shi ne malai ke nufi. Ya kawo shawarwari da yawa inda ya ce a ƙarshe, wato babban abin lura shine tun da malamai ba za su sa ido su zama 'yan kallon wasan kurar da 'yan siyasa ke yi da rayuwar al'umma ba. Ya zama musu tilas su jajirce su hana siyasar gaba da barnatar da dukiyar ƙasa da rashawa, kamar yadda littattafai masu tsarki suka koyar ko kuma suka ba da umarni. Sai dai in za su taka wannan rawar, in ji Chief Ma'ruf, to su yi shi ta hanyar shawara da lalama ga shugabanni, ba tsage-tsage da ɓatunci ba, tare da faɗakarwa ga mabiya dangane da ilimin siyasa da zaɓe na gari. Zaɓe kam ba gudu ba ja da baya. Musulmin da ya amsa sunan shi ya sani komin gwalgwalewa wani bakin bai kai bakin wani ba, gara baki aka ce da baki kirin. To a ƙarshen kusa da ƙarshe ya tattaro ginshiƙan siyasa a musulunci kamar haka: dole ne mai takarar siyasa ko mai neman shugabanci, ko malami ne ko mai zai Qur'ani, ya sani akwai bukatun kaɗaicin Allah da ɗaukakarsa kan dukkan tsare-tsaren rayuwa, miƙa wuya gare shi kuma da addini da mu'amala. Akwai Allah da ya shimfiɗa komi kuma yadda Allah ke so ya kamata kowa ya yi. Sannan na biyu, akwai tuntuɓa da shawara wajen gudanarwa, yana daga cikin sharuɗin siyasa wadda musulunci ya zo da shi. Akwai na uku, maganar adalci. Sannan na hudu, akwai riƙewa da bayar da amana ga abin da ko kuma waɗanda ake jagoranci. Ya ce tabbatarwa. Sannan na biyar, akwai tabbatarwa tare da kiyaye maslahar jama'a cikin sha'ani da gudanar da gwamnati. A gurguje a ƙarshe, malamai ya ce sun kasu gida uku dangane da alaƙar musulmi ko musulunci da dimokuraɗiyya. Akwai wanda suke ganin za a yi komin jagwalgwalewa, su ma a shiga din a caɓa, akwai kuma wanda suke ganin ba za a yi ba ne sam. Sannan akwai na uku matsakaita. A kansu ne ni takardar da aka bani fassara malam ya kawo ƙarshen bayani shi. Sauran da mun ji lokaci ma ya tafi. Shugaba ina ba ta amin afuwa abin da ya samu kenan. Assalamu alaikum.
Atakbir. Thank you so much, Professor Ismail Shehu, for that abridged version of the lecture done in English. We have a lot of questions and answers, and observations, and due to time, the scholars will not be able to answer all. But please be patient. If your question is not mentioned, we will forward it to the emails, to your emails. Answers will be provided. There is no much time. I've been told to intimate the two scholars while answering. Let's be a little bit brief. There are some that are done in Hausa. So there's this one in English. The sender of the observation, he said, why an Islamic scholar? He believes that an Islamic scholar should participate in party politics. Islam scholars, ulamas, play a crucial role in guiding society based on Islamic principles. Their involvement can be a means of ensuring justice, good governance, and accountability. Given the moral and ethical teachings of Islam, a scholar who enters politics has the potential to demonstrate what true leadership should be, based on justice and fairness and well-being of all citizens, regardless of religion or background. Example of a scholar in politics, the model of Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. He was known for his deep knowledge of Islamic jurisprudence and commitment to justice when he became the ruler of Umayyad Caliphate. Instead of using power for personal gain, he reformed governance, fought corruption, ensured fairness in resource distribution, and protected the rights of both Muslims and non-Muslims. This is one of the observations, yes. And then this one is saying, sir, you said Nigeria is not a secular state. What are the roles of ulamas and indeed other faithful in actualizing, and why we are in actualizing why we are a religious country, considering the provision in the Constitution of Nigeria? And this one is in Hausa. Waɗansu daga cikin wakilan musulmai a gwamnati kan ce su ba aikin musulunci suke yi ba. To menene matsayin ire-iren waɗannan mutanen a musulunci? Aminu Pampo. I'm going to say out the questions, then as yes. No, that will take much of our time. Maybe you just jot down. I can give you. This is yours. Assalamu alaikum. The paper, to my understanding, left out the role of traditional institutions. In this regard, which I believe contributes a lot to all segments of development, especially in role model. Abubakar, thank you so much. Maybe, ya isa haka? Assalamu alaikum. Malam, ana bukatar irin wannan lecture domin muna gane cewa ba a raba musulunci da siyasa. Minista, a ƙara irin wannan taro kafin a fara campaign. saboda shi zai janyo malamai da almajirai su shiga siyasa, har ma waɗanda suke ganin an yi musu ba daidai ba. Ba suna. Daga mata ne wannan. Na wannan minista ne. What does religion say about women in politics? Women as leaders. An example was in the case of Binani from Adamawa State. A lot of clerics said a woman cannot lead, hence she should not have contested as a governor. Ciao. I give you. Okay. Last. This is from Yakubu Abdullahi. Christian leaders involve or ask their followers to vote for a particular candidate and party in churches openly. Can a Muslim ulama or leader do the same in the mosque? When you are done, he's done, then the Honorable Minister will.
I need to clarify this one for us. I said it in my presentation, and I'm going to repeat it. Nigeria is not a secular country. Secularism means godlessness. Nigeria state recognizes Christianity and recognizes Islam. You should know that. People use that particular concept when they want to deny you of your right. When they are being sponsored to Jerusalem, sponsored on any right, any pilgrimage right, they will not say we are not religious. When they have holidays, they will not say we are not religious. That's why I was surprised when people were crying over the closure of school during Ramadan in some northern states. I said, what is your problem? What is your problem? 2 days a week, we are made to stay at home because they want you to observe your religious activity, Saturday, Sunday. Some states now say that their children to stay at home during Ramadan, they must have covered their curriculum. When you do third holiday, second holiday during Christmas, nobody raises any eyebrow. Most of the time we have a third holiday during Christmas. We don't raise any eyebrow. In a week, we stay at home 2 days. Times 12, that's 24. Nobody raises any eyebrow. That times 52. Nobody raises any eyebrow. Nigeria is not a secular country, it's a religious country. The question I now ask, how can we turn it to a pure religious country? That could be very difficult because of the population of Muslims and Christians. But our religion permits us to live our life the way it has dictated, and Nigerian government can make it so. Muslims can live in a Muslim minority state. They can live in a Muslim majority state. Live and let live. Women should not lead. Why does religion say about women in politics? Whatever happens to a man happens to a woman too. There's no particular part of the text that says our women should not lead. The Prophet said about Aisha that this woman will teach you 50% of your religion. What does that mean? It's a leader that this woman will teach you 50%, half of your deen. Imam Maliki had a female as a teacher. Bilikis was a ruler in the Quran. Quran may be silent about her religion, but nobody condemned that. If our women are capable, let them go into politics. They say Christian leaders advise ask their followers to vote for a particular candidate. I will implore our ulama not to venture into that. You want to tarnish your own image. It's one of the challenges that I listed. If you are fully involved If they become card carrying member, they will lose religious authority. When they are giving fatwa, people will be reading many to it. When they are giving opinion, you say, don't mind him, he's a PDP man. Don't mind him, he's an APC man. Don't mind him, he's an NPP man. They should never turn our pulpit into a campaign ground. The member is not meant for that. You can give people you can give the voters education on how to vote. You can let them know about their political responsibility. It ends that. Don't pick out a particular candidate and ask them to go and vote for it, for him or her. What you are to do, the obligation that you owe them, is to let them know that they are to vote for candidates that will protect their deen, that will protect their interests, the candidates that are clean, that are corruption-free. It ends there. But for you to now be campaigning openly to a particular party, you are going to lose religious authority. Because they will not know when you are talking about it as a politician and when you are talking as an alim. If you are involved fully and you are campaigning on the membering, they will not know when you are talking as a scholar. They will not know when you are talking as a politician. May Allah guide us aright. I will implore the ulamas not to ever turn their pulpit, their member, into a campaign ground. It's against the ethics of interfaith relation or peaceful coexistence. You can make the country to burn. You can set on fire. You can create enmity. You can create ill feelings. And you can create religious war. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Somebody said, okay, I've answered all. That if they participate in politics, they'll be able to guide the society. That's why I've listed, that's why I've handled the topic scholarly. I've listed the prospects, I've listed the challenges, and I will now weigh the two. If they get involved, they have positive side, but the negative side are there too. That's why I said they should play advisory role. May Allah guide us aright.
Or do I convert the question to English so that you answer it?
Okay.
Because it's in Hausa. You will answer in Hausa. Waɗansu daga cikin wakilan musulmi a gwamnati kan ce su ba aikin musulunci suke yi ba. Tambayar ko dai musulmi na shi ne waɗansu daga cikin wakilai musulmi ba wakilan musulmi ba. To malamai dai kamar yadda suke karantar da mu duk inda ka shiga barko kai sani kai wakilin Allah ne tukuna. Kuma wannan ina kamar tambayar tana da kunshe da al'amuran siyasa kwarai da gaske bangaren mai kyau. Ila ana kaɗa ma shi wakilin ne cewa za fa ka dawo ka nemi goyon bayanmu. To ba laifi ba ne idan masu zaɓe sun yi amfani da ƙarfin da Allah ya ba su na zaɓe, amma mutum ya sani in wakilan sun faɗa to a tuna musu cewa ba lalai a gwamnati ba ko a ina kake kai wakilin Allah ne kuma wakilin musulunci ne. Kowane irin aiki kake yi ma'ana za ka yi abin da yake zai jawo maka yardan Allah da kuma son shi, sannan babu wani abu naka da yake naka. Kamar yadda malamai suke karanta mana dai duk da mutum da aljan dalilin halittar su yin sautawa Allah. Saboda haka ba sai an ji ana tada jijiyar wuya a daki tebur a za ka yi musulunci aiki ko wakili kake ko ba wakili kake ba. Su kuma wakilan sani akwai ranar dawowa in har sun faɗa. Kada kuma a nan zan ɗan su masu bada masu wakilan irin wannan su sani cewa wakili fa sunan shi wakili. Wakilcin ba kawo constituency money bane a kashe. Ya kamata kamar yadda malam ya ce a gyara mutane fahimtar siyasa. Shi wakili ba aikin shi ya kama kuɗi ya kama ka wasu abubuwa ba. Asalin aikin wakili ya je ya gabatar da damuwarka ya haƙiƙi ce cewa in doka ce an yi in kaso ne an kasa wakilci yake. To wannan ni a dunkule kuma mutum in ya faɗa ka ya sani akwai mummunan hatsari domin kamar yadda malam ya karantar da mu yanzu da addini da siyasa ɗan juma ya ɗan juma ba su rabuwa saboda kar a raba. Wannan fahimta da ke na wallahu alam. Yoruba.
Before we invite the Honorable Minister, wazirin zai zo ko tambaya da ya yi ko kuma tsokaci da nake ganin an yi kokarin a sanar da mu sai na ga dace dai ya faɗi da kanshi. Waziri bismillah. Bismillah. Tambaya ce da kuma ƙarin bayani.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I would like to request that all protocols be observed so I'll be allowed to go straight to what I would like to say. I recall when we were younger, much younger, the struggle then was that in order to have some kind of influence on the kind of politics that go on in this country, we should go to a party en masse, Muslim brothers and sisters, but that did not work out well as we wanted. But recently I had a video from one of our imams in Abuja who spoke that it is not that we go into political parties en masse, but we should try to make sure that we Islamize the kind of politics that is being practiced in Nigeria. So much so that the issue of injustice, the issue of having this kind of enchantment with what is happening will be reduced considerably. I think we read in history that we had Muhammad Bello as the first sultan in this part of Sokoto Caliphate. We were told that he had 2 lanterns, one for his official use and one for his personal use. The one for his personal use was fueled by Baitul Mal. But what is happening nowadays, there's no difference apparently from official vehicles and personal vehicles. All these are examples of injustice taking place, such that some people would like to go into those places so that they will enjoy the same kind of largesse that others are going. We should make sure that public office is unattractive. People must just be forced to come and occupy offices because they have a mission, not that because their mission is just to accumulate wealth and try to influence other things that take place in the country. We must not run away from the fact that there's a possibility that one day we'll have this kind of justice around us, so much so that we'll all be happy to die. People should not think that because you are a Muslim, you will not care about others who are not Muslims. No, Islam does not teach us like that. It emphasizes justice at all times. A ruler or a leader will continue to prosper if he is honest and he is just. But an injustice leader will not last, even if he's the best of the Muslims around. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Before we invite the Honorable Minister, let me quickly acknowledge the presence of Dr. Lekon Fadalekpo, the Director General of Advertising Regulatory Agency of Nigeria, ARCON. Equally in our midst is His Highness Eze Sheikh Abdul Fattah Ematume, Third, Ofo Omofo, Grand Imam of Igbo Land, Vice President General, NCIA, JNI, Imo State. Kai za mu sai mu barka da zuwa. Currently, the Honorable Minister is billed to speak next as the special guest of honor. Is the keynote address of the Honorable Minister. Incidentally, there are questions that have been directed to him. So The Honorable Minister, sir, you do the two. The Honorable Minister, please.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. The Executive Governor of Kaduna State, my brother, the distinguished Senator Ubasani, ably represented by my friend and brother Tahir, the Director General, examples of putting a round peg in a round hole. He is not just a livestock developer by birth, he is also one by practice. And it is indeed worth noting that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has found him so worthy to occupy the position of the pioneer Minister of Livestock Development in this country. My brother and neighbor, Mr. Mukhtar Idi Maiha. He lives about 3 houses away from my house here in Kaduna. And so we have this privilege in our street to have 2 ministers in the cabinet of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, at least in Kaduna here. His Royal Highness, the Emir of Zozo, Ranke Dedi. Last year, I ran into some trouble when I reported to His Royal Highness that my wife, my Origida, is doing very well in my house, and that as a testament to that is the fact that she has not reported me to him, and he has not found it worthy of recalling her back to Zazo Emirate. I ran into problem when I left this venue last year. So this year, I'm not going to say the same thing. The only message I have is that I should tell you that she sends her regards and that she's doing well. That's the only thing I will say. The Emir of Hadejia, His Royal Highness Alhaji Adamu Abakar Maji, CON, who is represented by Dammasanin Hadejia, Alhaji Tijani Musa, and Wakil Hadejia, Alhaji Abubakar Hassan. The guest speaker, Sheikh Maruf Onike Abdulaziz, the Chief Missioner of NASFAT. I think what you did here is not just to speak, you actually indeed delivered a lecture. If not for time constraint, we are not tired of listening to you. We hope that we will continue to do this in the interest of our country and of our unity. The translator, Professor Ismail Shehu, I was wondering how you are able to not just capture what was in the lecture itself, but what he was able to say. I think that we've had a very worthy, compressed translation, not analysis, translation of what the guest speaker has said. Thank you for the work you have done. The conveners of this event, the Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, Africa's largest television network. And I must hasten to add that it's not just Africa's largest television network. We are also working to ensure that it becomes Africa's most efficient television station. Comrade Abdullahi Dembos, thank you for the work you do. The Director General FRCN, Dr. Muhammad Bulama, Director General of Voice of Nigeria, Mr. Jibrin Babandachi, and the Director General of ARCON, Advertising Registration Council of Nigeria, Dr. Fadapo, who has just been introduced. It is actually a very tricky one. When the chairman of the occasion, the Honorable Minister of Livestock Development, was setting the tone for the lecture. The thought in my mind was that by the time he finished, the lecture was as well being delivered and we just go home. But when the guest speaker came and also acknowledged that, he, of course, again dug deeper to the extent that we felt if we had left, we would have missed so much. So thank you, all of you on the high table, and the representative here, I can't remember the name exactly, from Imo State, the chief imam from that side. Thank you for coming. You were also here last year. Thank you, all of you. It's difficult to go through all the area of very important dignitaries here, but let me hasten to acknowledge the presence of the former governor of Kaduna State, Alhaji Ramadan Yaro, who is here with us, Your Excellency. Thank you for coming, and thank you for being a part of us now. I'm sure he understands what I mean. And thank you for also showing what leadership is all about. It is not only when you are in office that you get invited and you attend. And he's humbly sitting on the other side of the table. Thank you for your presence here. Hajia Jumai Biwal, for instituting this 19 years ago. Hajia Mariam Biwal, rather, for instituting this 19 years ago. Thank you for bringing this to bear. And I do hope the management of the NTA and the other sister stations will continue to uphold this very important lecture every year. Now, my lecture, my brief keynote address. I am highly honored and delighted to join the faith, politics, and power, the involvement of ulamas in politics and its implications for our country. I want to commend the Nigerian Television Authority, the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, the Voice of Nigeria, for the dedication and sustenance of this annual Ramadan lecture. This, of course, is consistent with your mandate in providing a vital platform for national discourse, and I have no doubt that this lecture series will continue to catalyze positive change in our country. It is my sincere honor, therefore, to recognize the esteemed presence of His Excellency Malam Uba Sani for the great work he's doing in Kaduna State in uniting especially the people of this state. Let me also salute the chairman of the occasion, Malam Idi Mukhtar Meha, Minister of Livestock Development, and also our royal father, Emir of Zazzau, Malam Ahmed Nuhu Bamali. Most importantly, I am excited that two renowned scholars, Sheikh Maruf Oniki Abdulaziz, the Chief Missioner of NASFAT, and Professor Ismail Shehu of the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, are here for us to benefit from their fountain of knowledge. No doubt what we have heard from the Chief Missioner and the Hausa translation we got from the professor has left us better educated today. Nevertheless, during this holy month of Ramadan, where families come together in supplication, reflection, solidarity, and compassion for one another, the triple effect of today's theme, God willing, our tomorrow. Undoubtedly, it is a phenomenon that we must all continue to navigate. However, as we meander through the dynamics of faith, politics, and power, we are also confronted with internal and external political dynamics that, of course, shape our future. The President Tinubu administration, only about a week ago, presented and signed the 2025 annual budget. Of course, it is an ambitious one of about 54 trillion naira, but which puts so much emphasis on national security, education, infrastructure, health, and agriculture. In addition, one of the most outstanding outcomes of the policies of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the creation of the Federal Ministry of Livestock Development. In this regard, we must indeed show our appreciation to the President for his vision of ensuring the creation of that ministry. And I'm happy that the Honorable Minister of Livestock Development is here in person. For those who may not know, the Ministry of Livestock Development is not just for cattle rearers, and is not only established for those who have the business of rearing cattle. It is a very important add-on, economic add-on, to ensure the prosperity, the economic prosperity that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has promised for our country. Finally, as we navigate politics and power and its effects on political discussions, we must uphold the rights to fulfill our obligations that all bind us together by promoting harmony, resilience, and also encouraging unity amongst our people. It is our hope that the annual Ramadan lecture is not just a lecture in religion for all of us. It is also a wake-up call for all of us to come together as Nigerians to forge a common unity for the progress of our country. In conclusion, let me say that the Nigerian Television Authority, the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, and the Voice of Nigeria that have jointly provided this platform for all of us to reflect deeply about our nation, about our society, will continue to thrive in this country. I call on all of them and all stakeholders to join hands with them to encourage them to continue to provide this kind of very vital platforms for the progress and for the unity of our country. May Allah bless our families, guide our steps, and grant us the wisdom in all our endeavors. And to all of us, and on behalf of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I say Ramadan Kareem to all of you. Thank you very much.
At Takbir, we thank the Honorable Minister of Information for that speech, Honorable Mohammed Idris. And now it's time to invite the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, Senator Obasani, ably represented by Barrister Tahir Umar Tahir, the DG Interfaith Kaduna State.
أعوذ بالله بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى. About the chairman of this very important occasion, the Honorable Minister of Livestock, Federal Republic of Nigeria, the special guest of honor, Honorable Minister of Information, our father, the Chairman, Kaduna State Council of Chiefs, and Emir of Zazzau, Ambassador Ahmed Nuhu Bamadli, the conveners of this very important occasion, the DGs, the representative of the emirs that are here present, my leader, the former governor of Kaduna State, Alhaji Mukhtar Ramadan Yaro, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum. His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, Senator Malam Ubasani, have wanted to be here to attend this very important occasion. But because of the exigencies of office, he is currently in Abuja attending to some other state issues. He has directed me to represent him here and to first of all appreciate the organizers of this program for sustaining this term for close to 2 decades. His Excellency also directed me to extend his felicitation to the Honorable Minister of Information for supporting these initiatives since the advent of this administration. Equally, His Excellency asked me to state that the topic is very apt, and in the light of the topic, he asked me to call on the religious leaders. Of course, as stated by the learned speaker, of course they are at liberty to participate in politics, but to also fear Almighty Allah in their dealings, because they are the heirs of the holy prophets, and at the same time, their involvement and engagement matters a lot to the followers. He also asked me to express his dismay over how religious leaders conduct themselves, lambasting each other in social media and doing so many things that are negative to the teachings of Islam. He therefore called on them to strictly adhere to the teachings of Islam. I want to also align with the chairman of the occasion for citing so many examples as regards to the relationship between states and the leadership, citing so many examples from the role of Usman Tanfodio of blessed memory and other his disciples that followed him. Equally, His Excellency asked me to remind members of, most especially the Muslim citizens of Kaduna State, of his drive towards the enrichment of security and enhancing the security of our dear state. We all remember that some couple of weeks back, His Excellency achieved a milestone by opening the markets of Birnangwari, Giwa, and so many other places that were not being reached for over 6 or 7 years ago. His Excellency asked me, therefore, to request the religious leaders and the Muslim citizens of Kaduna State, most especially in this month of Ramadan, to include the states in their prayers, to include the administration in their prayers, to include the administration of His Excellency, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the President of the country, because he believes that it is only through prayers that development will thrive, and it is only with prayers that government will achieve their mandates. On this note, His Excellency also asked me to reiterate his commitment and support towards this program and its life. We thank the NTA, FRCN, BON, and all the organizers for sustaining this tempo, and we pray to Almighty Allah to accept all our ibadah in this month and to also accept all our prayers. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Takbir. The speech by the representative of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State. It's now time for me to invite a distinguished gentleman, soft-spoken and kind, the Director General of FRCN, Dr. Muhammad Bulama, for the vote of thanks. DG, please.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. The chairman of this auspicious occasion, Minister of Livestock Development, Alhaji Idi Mukhtar. At the beginning of this program, I had trained my mind to expect the Honorable Minister, because of the passion, in fact, near obsession he has for cows, goats, sheep, and so on, to definitely say something about them in his opening speech. He disappointed me, and because of that, and as my servant, I'm going to find him 10 heads of cattle. At the end of this occasion, I will follow him to his farm to select 10 heads of cattle for onward transportation to Abuja, so that we can celebrate the Salah, inshallah, in a very big way. The Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, my boss, my brother, and guest of honor on this occasion, Alhaji Mohammed Idris, Kakakin Nupe, and indeed Kakakin Nigeria. Your Royal Majesty, the Sarkin Zazo, and other Royal Majesties here present, our guest speaker, the distinguished scholar, please permit me, because I messed up the protocol, I should have recognized the representative of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State much earlier. So that I don't mess up further, I'll just say, esteemed speakers, reverse scholars, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I give thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for sparing our lives to witness yet another Ramadan. Since my assumption of office a year and some months ago, and having attended last year's version of the Ramadan lecture here in this hall, I have come to look forward to this event because of the knowledge shared, the spiritual upliftment, and the quality of discourse. As we draw this enlightening and inspiring Ramadan lecture, the annual Ramadan lecture of 2025 to a close, I stand before you with a heart full of gratitude and a spirit enriched by the knowledge shared today. On behalf of the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria and our close sister organizations, the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, and the Voice of Nigeria, I extend my deepest thanks to all who have made this occasion a resounding success. Firstly, I would like to express our sincere appreciation to the respected guest speaker, Sheikh Morufu Onike Abdulaziz, Chief Missioner of NASFAT, who has taken time out of his busy schedule to enlighten us with his wisdom and insights on this most germane topic of faith, politics, and power, the involvement of ulamas in politics and its implications. Your profound words have certainly touched our hearts and minds, and we live here today better equipped to reflect on the spiritual and moral lessons of this blessed month. To the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, Alhaji Mohammed Idris, I say a big and heartfelt thank you for your inspiring leadership, understanding, and ceaseless support, as exemplified by your presence in this very edition of this program. In every edition of this program since your assumption of office about 2 years ago. And you have shown this spirit not only to BON, NTA, and FRCN, but millions of audiences who listen to and watch the live broadcast of the 2025 Ramadan lecture, your presence here today speaks volumes about the unity, devotion, and commitment we share during this sacred time of Ramadan. Your support and participation have helped make this lecture a meaningful and memorable event. We also owe a debt of gratitude to the dedicated team of the organizing committee. Your patience and perseverance, as well as tireless and painstaking efforts behind the scenes, have ensured that everything ran smoothly, from the organization of this lecture to the seamless broadcast of the event. And I must pause to pay tribute to Auntie Mariam for pioneering this very, very important and great event. Finally, to our dear audience, thank you for joining us, for your attention, and for your commitment to the pursuit of knowledge. It is return all of us back to our respective destinations safely, and grant us all long life to witness many more Ramadans, peace and success in this world and in the hereafter. Amin. Ramadan Kareem to all of us. Allahumma baligna Laylatul Qadr, and wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Oh, no, wait. Digi. Thank you so much, the DG FRCN, Dr. Muhammad Bulama. Atakbir. Your Excellencies, Your Highness, other distinguished guests, we've come to the end of this memorable occasion. Whatever has a beginning surely must have an end. We thank Allah for everything. Before I wrap up with the closing prayer, may I once again acknowledge and appreciate the government of Kaduna State for their contributions. Distinguished Senator Ahmed Mohamed Makarfi, NTA, FRCN, Voice of Nigeria, Honorable Abdullahi Bayero, and Hajia Zainab Tankukuta. These are the contributions received from the individuals and organizations. We thank you, and may Allah bless us all. I now invite Imam Abdullahi Ladan to give us the closing prayer. But before then, after then, the national anthem.
صلوا على النبي الكريم صلى الله على محمد رحم محمد وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت ورحمت وباركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. اللهم إنا نسألك خير المسألة وخير الدعاء وخير النجاح وخير العلم وخير العمل وخير الثواب وخير الحياة وخير الممات. وثبتنا وثقل موازيننا وحقق إيماننا ورفع درجاتنا وتقبل صلاتنا واغفر هديئتنا وأسألك الأولى من الجنة. اللهم إنا نسألك موجبات رحمتك وعزائم مغفرتك وسلامة من كل إنك عفو تحب العفو فاعف عنا. اللهم إنك عفو تحب العفو فاعف عنا. اللهم إنك عفو تحب العفو فاعف عنا. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى اللهم وبارك وأكرم على عبدك رسولك محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.
There will be group photograph by the at the head out. Yes, national anthem, please.